remember, he's on his big fat DPP pension. What does he know about, ageing women who really will depend on the state pension? He doesn't know. And he has no feel for politics. Now, he might say, I've got a great feel for politics because I smashed people like you. But he's got no feel for politics. He doesn't understand how they feel.
Did Keir Starmer just commit political suicide on national television? Diane Abbott thinks so, and she's not holding back. In a blistering attack that's left Labour HQ reeling, Abbott exposed what she calls Starmer's utter disconnect from Labour's core values.
We did promise them that we would give them justice. I understand the issue about the cost. WASPy women fought one of the most sustained and passionate campaigns for justice that I can remember, year in, year out. But does the Prime Minister really understand how let down WASPy women feel today?
But is this the final nail in Starmer's coffin, or can he bounce back? Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favour. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. The story of Keir Starmer's political journey is a warning about misguided ambition. After being praised as Labour's golden boy, Starmer's rise to the party's leadership in 2020
did know about the change. And in those circumstances, the taxpayer simply can't afford the burden of tens of billions of pounds of compensation. I do understand the concern, of course I do. I set out the history, Mr. Speaker, but the research is clear that 90% of those impacted
gave supporters who were desperate for a change of pace hope. He enjoyed a period of public favour because his early pledges of unity and progressive policies struck a chord with many. However, as time passed, Starmer's flawless exterior started to show signs of wear. His steady departure from fundamental Labour principles became more noticeable, alienating the very group that had helped him rise to power. Labour's decision to cut the winter fuel allowance for all but the poorest pensioners was one of the most obvious instances of this ideological shift.
One of the things about Kier is he's only been in the party a relatively short period of time. He was DPP until, I think, 2014, and he couldn't have been a member of the party.
You asked Diane Abbott, do you, Prime Minister, really understand how let down WASPy women feel? He said he did understand.
No, he doesn't. That's the problem. He doesn't. Then he got parachuted into he got parachuted into
St Pancras.
Holborn, just parachuted in, didn't have to contest for it. Then, because it was a safe seat, he didn't have to fight for that.
Voters were taken by surprise by this move, which was noticeably missing from the party's manifesto and went against Starmer's previous criticisms of conservative policies regarding the elderly. The retaliation was quick and harsher. Under Starmer's leadership, accusations of incompetence and dishonesty started to circulate. Tensions were heightened by his handling of the WASPy women's issue, as detractors criticised the party for its contemptuous reaction to calls for reparations. This alleged betrayal of a crucial demographic rocked Labour's base of support. Starmer added new taxes on farmers and targeted inheritance tax, which were not included in Labour's manifesto, as if to stoke the flames. Many questioned whether Starmer had abandoned the party's working-class roots in favour of courting a different demographic in light of these unexpected actions. These changes in policy have had drastic consequences. According to reports, the Labour Party's membership has fallen precipitously, indicating a widening divide between its grassroots supporters and leadership. This departure of disenchanted members is a clear sign of the party's impending crisis of confidence. The dissatisfaction is even more pronounced behind closed doors. According to insider accounts, there is a general sense of dissatisfaction among Labour MPs, many of whom believe that Starmer puts appearances before real value and a connection to the party's core beliefs. This long simmering animosity has fueled internal strife, which could blow up at any time. One can't help but wonder how much longer Starmer can withstand this storm as the pressure and criticism increase. Diane Abbott's televised criticism appears to have set the stage for a reckoning, and it appears that time has come. What did this veteran of the Labour Party have to say about the troubled leader of her party? Let's investigate. That was the turning point that rocked Labour to its foundation. Former Shadow Home Secretary and seasoned MP Diane Abbott stunned political watchers with her harsh criticism of Keir Starmer on the radio. Abbott's decision to split the party wasn't a simple argument. Rather, it was a full-scale uprising that revealed the party's serious internal divisions. Abbott, a long-time supporter of Labour's left wing and Jeremy Corbyn's close ally, had been unusually silent about Starmer's leadership. However, she eventually broke her silence in a spectacular way. She claimed that Starmer was treating seasoned MPs like herself like non-persons, exposing a disconnect between the party's traditional values and its new direction. Her criticism was far more than personal criticism. A growing chorus of dissatisfaction among Labour MPs and supporters was given voice by Abbott. She expressed an underlying frustration that had been building, a feeling that Starmer's leadership was unauthentic and straying from the party's fundamental ideals. Abbott's remarks sparked an immediate and severe backlash. The policies of Starmer, especially his position on pensioners, infuriated a number of Labour MPs. Abbott wasn't holding back when he called these choices a betrayal of Labour's core principles. Her public criticism brought into question both the direction Starmer was taking Labour in and the unity of the party. Politicians quickly offered their opinions on the ramifications of Abbott's comments. Many pointed out that a high-profile criticism from within the party's own ranks could have a significant impact on Labour's public perception and unity. It was the first time in recent Labour history that a senior official publicly contested the party leader on live television. Abbott was especially damning when he warned about the possible repercussions of Starmer's leadership style. Could a man accused of lacking political instinct and alienating key figures really lead Labour in a direction that appeals to the general public, she asked. Her direct query, is he leading a party that's losing its soul, pierced the core of the mounting disquiet among Labour members. The Labour Party is at a turning point as the fallout from Abbott's explosive interview settles. The consequences of this public dispute could further polarise the party and cast doubt on Starmer's capacity to bring together the disparate elements of Labour. The question now is whether Labour can put aside its internal divisions and show the British public a united front as the next general election approaches. Labour is at a turning point as the fallout from Diane Abbott's damning criticism settles in. Deep rifts within the party have been revealed by Keir Starmer's political decline from a promising leader to a troubled figurehead. His departure from fundamental Labour principles, as demonstrated by his divisive inheritance tax and pensioner benefit policies, has enraged many supporters and spurred internal unrest. These tensions were brought to light by Abbott's televised denunciation, which raised significant concerns about Labour's future. Can Starmer win back the confidence of voters and his party? Or has Labour's credibility suffered irreversible harm? Whether Labour can show the British public a united front, or if it will continue to break apart under the strain of internal strife, will be determined in the upcoming months. This crisis has ramifications that go beyond Labour and touch on more general concerns about voter trust and political integrity. Authentic leadership is increasingly needed as public trust in traditional parties declines. Will the difficulties faced by Labour lead to the emergence of new political movements, or will they only increase the disinterest of voters? One thing is certain: British politics are about to enter a period of significant uncertainty and possible transformation. Only time will tell.